is up top in this 4-5-1 for head coach Tricia Ford. Barbados obviously in the yellow kits tonight. El Salvador in their traditional blue. Two captains will meet at midfield. Barbados still having their starting 11 photo taken. And you see Angie Alvarenga wearing the armband for El Salvador as we meet our match officials for this one, led by Smedley St. John of Haiti, Falon de Arisma, Jessica Aguilar, the two assistants, Kareem Benjamin, the fourth official, as they are dressed, as you can see, in the red tops and red socks here today. El Salvador the favorites in this match, but Barbados in a side that is rapidly improving as more and more resources being invested into the women's game across CONCACAF. And Barbados very hopeful of being able to spring an upset here tonight in a group that is wide open after that draw between Curazao and Trinidad in the opening match in this group on Saturday. Both those sides with just a point. Either of these sides could go to the top of the group if they win here tonight. And here's the starting 11 for El Salvador, who will try to achieve that with Kimberly Elias in goal. Del Cayo, Diaz, Castro, and Menjivar are across the back four. Quintanilla, Alvarez, Alvarenga, and Rivera in the midfield. Herrera and Guardado are the two starting strikers in this 4-4-2 for Debbie Gómez, who took over the U17 side last fall. Has put the side through 11 microcycles in the lead up to this tournament. 11 extended training weeks. And they have been building toward this, as we said earlier, for many weeks and months. And now the night has finally arrived as they kick off this campaign. And again, just 3 matches in this group phase, and you have to win the group in order to be assured of a spot in that final round of qualifying in March. So very little margin for error. Of course, the ability to put aside those risks and put aside that lack of margin for error, often the key to success in a tournament like this. And El Salvador obviously in great spirits as they get set to kick off, and they will attack from right to left in this first half. Glad you're with us. Day 3 of this competition, just at the start of an incredible year of competition across the CONCACAF Federation and across the world, of course, with the FIFA Men's World Cup taking place this summer. There's our opening whistle from referee Smedley St. John. And an early shot for El Salvador as they test goalkeeper Roshana Messiah right away. Of course, goalkeepers often like to have an early touch of the ball. Doesn't get much earlier than that. So the ball officially rolling here in Curazao. This tournament being hosted across several nations. Messiah, another early touch. That one a little shakier. Kind deflection, but then it's turned over, and El Salvador with a chance to get right to the attack, and a right-footed effort, and they score! 40 seconds in, and an absolute dream for El Salvador. After all the build-up, they're on the score sheet inside of a minute. And their quest to get to that final round off to an ideal beginning. And it is Kylie Guardado with the finish after the turnover by Barbados, stepping outside a defender. And what a good finish it was with that right foot, wrapping it inside that far corner and leaving Roshana Messiah with not much she could do. So El Salvador with the early jolt and those good spirits that you could see before kickoff paying off for them right away. Tons of positivity in their body language, both during their national anthem and just before kickoff, and that positivity continuing in a big way, and it could get even better now, less than 2 minutes in. Here comes Angie Alvarenga, their captain. Her ball into the middle, not convincingly dealt with by Barbados, who are really up against it early on. Possession by Jade Del Coyo. And then out wide is Barbados struggling to get a hold of the ball. Already one goal for Kylie Guardado, and sends this one toward goal and just wide as she looked for a teammate who was crashing in at that near post. The flag had gone up for offside, and so that one would not have counted, but Kaylin Alvarez was hunting that cross. It wasn't too far away, even though she was a bit early with the run. Well, a tough blow for Barbados, obviously, knowing that as underdogs, they would have wanted to come in, hoping to hang around in this match as long as possible, and conceding in just 40 seconds from kickoff. That's the kind of thing Barbados are going to have to find a way to do more. Win some of those battles in midfield. Georgina Herrera there plays at IMG Academy in the United States. This is a very talented El Salvador roster. Almost half of them are based in the U.S. So many of these national teams recruiting dual nationals who are eligible through their parents or grandparents. And El Salvador certainly doing that, not just at the senior men's level, but across their programs. And that's a beautiful ball to the edge of the 18, and a big chance for a second goal, and it's a huge stop. Roshana Messiah, quick off her line and smothering that attempt to keep her side in it for now. What a ball this was. Perfectly curled and weighted right around the back line. Took them all out of the game, and Barbados grateful to their goalkeeper for coming out and making a crucial stop. Looks like that corner will have to be retaken. It's the first corner of the match. Shirley Rivera standing over it. After they play it short, looking for a foul on the edge of the 18. They don't get one. Recycled out wide then. That reverse ball was clever. Chased down by Alvarenga. She plays it back in. Barbados letting the ball bounce in their own area, which is always dangerous. El Salvador winning all those loose balls. Laid wide again, then clipped into the middle. That's calm play by Barbados. They need more of that. And they're grateful for that whistle that relieves the pressure on them for the moment. But all El Salvador in these opening 5.5 minutes. And the goal just 40 seconds in from Kylie Guardado. Another one of those players who is based in the United States. Playing at North Carolina Fusion Academy. Barbados haven't been able to get into the attack, and still can't for now. Great switch of play, and they're in again down the left, but the flag up. So Kaylin Alvarez, again, just a bit early with the run, but Barbados having issues tracking those runs. And you suspect she'll continue to live on that defender's back shoulder and see if she can get that timing just right. Throw for Barbados. First time they've really gotten into the attacking half. That's wonderful skill from Alvarenga, starting the attack the other direction. And El Salvador can attack again. Skipping to the inside, unleashing from over 30 yards out. Just no space on the ball for Barbados. El Salvador hunting it down every time they lose it. Alvarenga. There's that ball to the left again. And the space is there, but again, the offside flag has gone up. Well, it's clearly a tactic that El Salvador want to exploit. Possessing the ball on the right side and then switching play to the left after sucking all the defenders over to that side of the pitch. And that play is clearly on. They just haven't quite gotten it right yet. Quintanilla now. Off for Shirley Rivera. Herrera skipping deftly to the end line, and her pullback. And it bounces kindly into the arms of Messiah. That was Alvarez, who was just inside the 6-yard box. Wasn't able to make much of a connection with it. There's the first touch for Kimberly Elias in goal for El Salvador. Ball goes out of play, but El Salvador looking like a side that have been training together for months. And although Debbie Gómez, their head coach, acknowledged that the challenge at this level is that teams don't get a chance to play in big tournaments all that often. So you can train and study and prepare, and they certainly have, but you never quite know what you're going to get on match day when there aren't that many of them at this age level. So there's always that degree of nervous anticipation when you go into a tournament like this, but El Salvador have begun incredibly well in these opening 10 minutes. And that ball is going to reach its target. Shirley Rivera continuing into the box before it rides off her feet and is smothered by Messiah. Remember Messiah's save in the 4th minute after El Salvador had scored just 40 seconds in, and they had a 1v1 against Messiah, who was able to keep it out. So Barbados just hanging on and hanging in through these first 10, at least staying in the conversation. Kimberly Elias in the Academy for Alianza Women FC. And El Salvador, after Guardado had given them the lead in the first minute here tonight. Head coach Debbie Gómez, a former head coach of Alianza Women. As there's another offside flag, you could see Gómez in the background there just for a moment in front of the El Salvador bench. She led Alianza Women to an unbeaten title-winning campaign several years ago. Alianza, a juggernaut club, both on the men's and the women's side in El Salvador, of course. Well, that bounces all the way through, and again, the offside flag raised against Kaylin Alvarez. By my unofficial count, that's the 4th time she's been flagged in the first 11 minutes, but continues to make herself available for those forward balls. Now the combination play, wonderful again from El Salvador. And then the cross, oh, just out of the reach of Alvarez, who extended those toes on the left foot and couldn't quite redirect it into the open goal. But again, the buildup from El Salvador, silky smooth. This was the ball that just went beyond the reach of Kaylin Alvarez a moment ago. But then Shirley Rivera skipping all the way through the defense. It's another excellent finish. Almost a carbon copy of the one in the first minute from Guardado. Sliding it into that far corner. So El Salvador continuing to play with poise and panache. A lot of confidence to fall again here in Curazao. Barbados still unable so far to mount much of an attack, and El Salvador always dangerous in transition. And here's Herrera trying to switch onto her right foot. It will be a throw for the women in blue. So as the rain starts to fall harder, El Salvador looking for yet another chance to cross in, and all alone. Is it number 3? No, it's another fine save from Messiah. Well, Georgina Herrera found herself with more space than she would have expected, right on the doorstep. She had time to take an extra touch. It's a good pullback, and nobody tracking her run, all alone, and only Messiah to beat, but Messiah able to make herself as big as possible and keep it out. Second 1v1 save she's made in these first 15 minutes. Waves of El Salvador attack. And this time Messiah able to come out and claim. And we saw these dark rain clouds just on the horizon about 15 minutes prior to kickoff. We wondered if they would make their way in this direction, and they obviously have. Nearly 70% of the ball for El Salvador through the first quarter of an hour, and they own both the goals. Guardado in the first minute, and Rivera in the 13th. And they have a look of a side that can score plenty more tonight. Here's Herrera, and the flag is going up against her. Well, Barbados again finding it difficult thus far in this first half. But they are a team that has progressed quite a bit over the last several years. Briefly mentioned earlier, their head coach, Tricia Ford, was appointed to the prestigious FIFA Youth Girls Competitions Committee last fall. She'll be on that committee at least through the 2029 term. And that's one of those things that sometimes goes unappreciated among casual fans who don't necessarily follow board appointments with FIFA, but that's a big deal. This ball's going to stay in play, and it whistles across the 6-yard area before it's guided back to the goalkeeper, Messiah. But being appointed to the FIFA Youth Girls Competitions Committee for Tricia Ford and for Barbados, a very historic milestone for her and for them. The first woman from Barbados ever appointed to a FIFA standing committee. And so she has the opportunity on that committee to represent the interests of Barbados and the wider Caribbean region on the global stage and contribute to the development and governance of international youth women's football tournaments. Here comes Messiah out of her goal. Skipping around her is Shirley Rivera, but just runs out of room, and the ball runs out of play for a goal kick. Rivera already on the score sheet once. Almost was around the goalkeeper there. All kinds of room for El Salvador again. That touch just a little bit heavy, and it's cleared out. Herrera trying to break into the area and nearly did. Going to be a corner for El Salvador, their second of this first half. In swinging ball with the right foot, hung up into that rainy sky, flicked toward the back stick and cleared to the top of the 18. Taken down by Del Coyo. Barbados struggling to get out, although that's a loose pass, and Barbados with a chance to hunt something here. No foul given. It's going to be a throw for Barbados. Taryn Sutherland looked like she was trying to apologize for the contact, but it does result in the throw for the ladies in yellow. Taken by Amira Griffith. Griffith, well, hit her teammate. It wasn't the one that she was intending that ball for. Handball is given, and a free kick for El Salvador. But again, for head coach Tricia Ford, now sitting on that FIFA Youth Girls Competitions Committee for the next 4 years. A profound honor, as she said, and the Barbados Football Association congratulating her on her appointment, calling it a momentous achievement and an opportunity for her to support the development of youth girls football internationally. Tricia Ford has been the Barbados Football Association Women's Committee chair for quite a while. She was the interim team manager of the senior women's national team. So a very decorated career in coaching and administration already, and she's going to make their first change of the match already, just 20.5 minutes in. Lachey Wilkinson comes on for Keziah Douglin. So see if that change can spark Barbados as they look to have a little bit more possession and pose a bit more threat. Trailing thanks to El Salvador goals in the 1st and 13th minutes. Alvarenga tenaciously hunting that ball, and now the second ball falls for Kaylin Alvarez. Struggling for footing a little bit after that downpour. Here's some of the speed for Barbados, though. This is Kellis Braithwaite. And then Janiyah Nurse does well, and Nurse's ball forward. Wasn't a bad idea. Just over the head of the substitute, Lachey Wilkinson, but better from Barbados. Guardado in the 1st, Rivera in the 13th. Have El Salvador in a good position, a quarter of the way through the Group F opener for both these sides. Well, a loose touch there. That's one of the first mistakes we've really seen from El Salvador tonight. Jade Del Coyo caught out by that ball. Mentioned Curazao and Trinidad played to an entertaining 2-2 draw on Saturday in the first game in this group. So an opportunity for these sides here tonight to go to the top of the group after the first round of games if they could win. Right now, El Salvador in position to do that, but Barbados trying to create something of their own. They're flagged for offside, though. but a little bit more confidence, more possession over the last few minutes for Barbados since that change from manager Tricia Ford. Throw for El Salvador. And the subsequent ball into the box. Nobody at the back stick this time. And it's a throw for Barbados. A couple other games in progress in this competition across the region. Bermuda playing at home. They have a 2-0 lead against Bonaire. I'm at the Flora Duffy National Sports Center in Bermuda. They are in the 25th minute as well. That game kicked off simultaneously with this one. That's an opportunity for Bermuda if they could run up a heavy score there against Bonaire, who are participating in this tournament for the first time. They could put their goal differential in a very good spot. Bonaire lost 8-0 in their opening match on Saturday to Panama, who are the heavy favorites in that group. But Bermuda with a 7-0 win over Suriname later that night, right on Panama's tail. And this is a good ball back, and it's another good save from Rashana Messiah. Her third big stop of this opening half. Otherwise, El Salvador could be completely out of sight by now. So another corner for El Salvador. It's driven in low and then spiked away. Gabrielle Birmingham not taking any chances. Speaking of taking their chances, the Dominican Republic leading U.S. Virgin Islands 10-0 in the 71st minute in Managua. It's perhaps too easy of a joke to talk about Messiah saving Barbados, but she has certainly kept them in it in this first half. This is a good hit from just outside the 18 with the left foot. Struck sweetly, and Messiah able to palm it over the bar. Rivera kept it in play. Now a scuffle for this ball, and El Salvador yet again emerge with it. Seeing the ball tends to stay in play along the touch lines and end lines on this pitch. That's helped El Salvador a couple times in this first half. Yeah, so we've talked about the other two games that are in progress in this competition in other groups. As this ball into the middle from El Salvador. First touch a bit heavy from Herrera. Now another thumping left-footed strike, and that one sliced wide. There will be one more game kicking off later this evening. That will be Dominica against Nicaragua, who are the host nation in that group in Managua. El Salvador again into the attacking area. Oh, that's an excellent spin, and then a corner earned by Shirley Rivera, who scored a goal and had several other outstanding moments in these first 30 minutes. The balance there, after going to the ground to spin and shield the ball and then dribble past a defender all in one motion. Very impressive. Fifth corner kick for El Salvador. To the top of the area, Zoe Castro off the bar after the save by the goalkeeper Messiah. Tipped it off the underside of the bar. Now another strike from distance, and it's off the post. And El Salvador still can't find that third goal. They've done everything but score since the 13th minute when they scored their second. And they've hit the woodwork, and now that upright in short succession in that sequence. Look at this hit from Alvarenga, curling out of the goalkeeper's reach, but clanging off the post again. Awkward challenge. Referee is going to give a foul against El Salvador. And Barbados just can't find a way out. El Salvador threatening to score a bunch of goals tonight, though this one's out of play. As we tick past 30 minutes played in Curazao. Goal differential often crucial in tournaments like these. So El Salvador will be slightly annoyed that they haven't scored more goals in the first 30-plus minutes. They still figure to create plenty of opportunities over the remaining 60. Alvarenga. Strong stretch from Zoe Castro after she was wrong-footed by that return ball to her. Able to keep the attack alive for El Salvador for a moment. Here goes Kaylin Alvarez down the line. Takes it to the end line. And her pullback. And Herrera! Messiah again. Well, Georgina Herrera will feel like she's done everything but score in these first 30-plus minutes. She's had multiple looks, and Messiah has been in her way each time. $14 total shots for El Salvador. Free kick for Barbados. That was neat work from Janiyah Nurse in the center circle to protect the ball. Barbados desperate for any kind of possession. And a Barbados player down. Barbados look as though they're getting ready to make a second change. Shamanda Blenman-Murray looks as though she's going to have to be subbed off. Well, she has to come off for now, at least, with the injury because she went down. But she's being handed a bib, and they are making a change, and they are taking her off. So Blenman Murray off. It looks like Danica Antoine has come on in her place. That ball forward will be mopped up by Messiah. And then a dispossession. And here goes Shirley Rivera again. Rivera! And Messiah saves once more. And then the touch was missed by Kaylin Alvarez, and it's a goal kick. How many saves can Roshana Messiah make? The answer for now was at least one more. The finish that time from Rivera after she scored in the 13th minute with a perfect shot into the corner. That one wasn't quite as well placed, and it left Messiah with an opportunity to beat it away, as she did. Still a good save, though. Excellent switch of play. Rivera on it once more. Final 10 minutes of this first half as Rivera dances back to her left foot. Shouldered off the ball for a moment, and Barbados have a chance to take it the other way. Can they connect some passes and create an attack now? The answer is no, as Alvarenga takes it away. Free kick for El Salvador. So much of the ball for Shirley Rivera. Barbados playing a high line at the edge of their 18. Zoe Castro. That is technically another save for Roshana Messiah. Probably her easiest in this first half. Kimberly Elias with a chance to touch the ball at the other end, which she hasn't had many of in this first half. Nearly a turnover. And now a foul against Barbados's Lachey Wilkinson. That was unfortunate for them because they had a chance to take advantage of a rare lapse from El Salvador. The ball out from the back wasn't great, but then the clip of the heels of Angie Alvarenga. Debbie Gómez getting the chance to briefly show off her skills on the touchline there for El Salvador. Debbie Gómez mentioned she took over the head coach role back in late October for the Salvadoran Federation. That is Richard Ford, the head coach of Barbados. Tricia Ford, who we've spoken about in this first half, their team manager. But a frustrating first half for Barbados. Well, there is Debbie Gómez. She was the first woman in the country of El Salvador to obtain her Class A license. Mentioned the former head coach of Alianza Women. She was the head coach of the senior women's national team in 2019. Eric Acuna, who had previously taken charge of El Salvador's youth teams. He is the current senior national team coach. El Salvador looking to grab that third goal before halftime. Barbados wanted a foul there. Referee has allowed most things to play on in this first half. That's perhaps not the most advised back heel to keep that ball in play. And it comes into the middle, and Barbados able to deal with it. But only at the expense of another El Salvador throw. Taryn Sutherland, the Barbados captain, hasn't been able to get on the ball much. Neither of her teammates in this first half. Somehow, though, only trailing by 2 goals. It's not totally out of this match yet. With the way El Salvador have been bossing the ball and creating chance after chance, it feels like just a matter of time before they put this game away. Never know, though. It's such a strange sport in so many wonderful ways. Awkward ball into the box, and that's just put out of play. It'll be a corner for El Salvador once again as we head into the final 5 of these opening 45. And then a blast toward goal. Messiah saves the second ball. They score. And El Salvador do grab that third goal that they've been threatening for nearly the last half an hour. This one coming from the rebound, and it's Kaylin Alvarez, who's been involved so many times in this first half. She finally gets her goal off the initial blast from Zoe Castro. Messiah able to save the first one, but couldn't help the rebound, and Kaylin Alvarez extends La Selecta's lead in the 41st minute. So El Salvador, as things stand, heading to the top of Group F by the end of tonight, unless Barbados can turn this around quite dramatically. And El Salvador will be thinking about furthering this goal differential if possible to try to put as much distance between themselves and their opponents as they can. Curazao and Trinidad, the other 2 teams in this group, having played to a draw on Saturday. That one high and wide as El Salvador continue to pepper the Barbados goal with shots. That one taken by Kylie Guardado, who opened the scoring just 40 seconds into this one. And then it was Rivera in the 13th and Alvarez in the 41st. What a ball. Subsequent touch a bit heavy from Shirley Rivera, but the ball to find her was exquisite. Seeing quite a bit of skill and class from this El Salvador team tonight. Foul against El Salvador with 90 seconds to play of the 45 minutes. Foul against Zoe Castro. Another one of the U.S.-based players for El Salvador, plays for SoCal Blues FC. Long-running, very well-known academy in Southern California. Shouts for a penalty there from Barbados, but the tackle was clean from Jay Diaz, says referee Smedley St. Jean. See it one more time. Well, it was outside the area anyhow, but tackle did appear to be perfectly legitimate. And so the throw for Barbados, they haven't had many of these in the attacking half tonight. And then it's taken away, and they're going to have to race the other way on defense as Angie Alvarenga running at them once more. Does well to find her teammate Herrera. Herrera to the end line, beating one, then playing it off a second. And it'll be another corner for El Salvador as we head for first half stoppage time. Played short right along the end line by El Salvador. We're into just one additional minute at the end of this first half. So final minute of the half. Who did that go off last? It's going to be another corner. So the final action of the first half, most likely, is it's curled into the box and then volleyed errantly, and then the second ball also volleyed wide. Two good chances for El Salvador, albeit the technique certainly difficult. That will cap off a hugely dominant first half for the side in blue. Smedley St. Jean blows for halftime. And so the opening 45 minutes conclude here in Curazao. El Salvador well on top, 3 goals to the good. They could have been at least 6 or 7, if not for a number of fine saves from Roshana Messiah in goal for Barbados. Guardado 40 seconds in, then Rivera in the 13th, Alvarez in the 41st, and El Salvador looking as though they have plenty more potentially in them in the second half. They'll regroup for a few minutes first of all, and we will come back with your first half highlights and statistics as these CONCACAF Women's U17 qualifiers first round continue from Group F and from Curazao. It is El Salvador 3, Barbados 0. Well, a dominant first half from El Salvador as we check out our highlights from these opening 45 minutes of this game in Willemstad, Curazao, Barbados and El Salvador. High hopes for both sides coming in, but Barbados, knowing they were big underdogs, and El Salvador, to their credit, took control of this match right from the opening kickoff. Just 40 seconds in, they would grab the lead after some awkwardness in the Barbados defense. They were able to carve them open right away, and it was a very good finish as well. Kylie Guardado, 40 seconds on the clock, skipping around one defender and then doing the rest herself, burying it in the corner and lifting El Salvador to the ideal start in this long-awaited tournament for them. And El Salvador continued to pour forward. They almost made it two just a few minutes later. The first of a sequence of big saves from Roshana Messiah in goal for Barbados. El Salvador were just relentless, though, as this one drew another save, albeit from an offside position, so it didn't officially count. But El Salvador continued to play those switches out to the left side, where Kaylin Alvarez found herself in space time and time again. She was often offside, but still, in the 13th minute, El Salvador would double the advantage, and this time it was a mazy dribble from Shirley Rivera, who also finished gorgeously, taking defenders out of the game left and right, and skipping it into the corner past Messiah. And so it was 2-0 to La Selecta in the 13th minute. And you wonder just how many goals El Salvador might score in the first half at that point. Turned out just one more before the break. Barbados weren't able to create a lot. They did get the ball out in transition a few times where they tried to use their speed, and it didn't result in any clear-cut chances for them as El Salvador kept finding their way into shooting positions. Messiah tipping that first shot off the underside of the bar, and then the follow-up would fall to Angie Alvarenga, and she pinged her shot off the post. So El Salvador continued to look as though that third goal was imminent. It took them almost an additional half an hour to find it. After scoring their second goal in the 13th, it would take all the way until the 41st minute, despite so many opportunities and near misses in the interim. Zoe Castro, after winning a ball, would blast it toward goal. Messiah made the save, but couldn't do much about the rebound as it was put home for 3-0 to El Salvador. It was Kaylin Alvarez this time, quickest to react to that rebound and tucking it into that same corner. And so El Salvador, 3 goals ahead at the break. They've already gotten to practice their goal celebrations a few times, and they hope to practice them more in the second half. Our numbers from the first half, very dominant from El Salvador, as we expected. 21 shots, 14 on target, so 11 saves officially for Roshana Messiah of Barbados in that first half. 74% of the ball, all 9 corners, for El Salvador in that first half. So we'll see if they can better their goal differential in half number 2, or if Barbados can find something in the attack of their own. Your second 45 minutes coming your way in just a few minutes on the CONCACAF Women's U17 qualifiers. 3-0 to El Salvador. Getting set for the second half here in Curazao, with El Salvador leading Barbados 3-0 after a dominant opening 45 minutes. El Salvador needing only 40 seconds to open the scoring in the first half through Kylie Guardado, and then Shirley Rivera doubling their advantage in the 13th. Kaylin Alvarez making it 3 in the 41st, and there could have been a number of others if not for a string of saves from Roshana Barbados. So in this second half, it will be Barbados, who are still in the yellow, of course. They will attack from right to left, and they'll kick things off in half number 2, having had just 26% of the ball in the opening 45 minutes. El Salvador making 2 changes coming out of halftime. They bring on Emma Torres and Ariana Jones. So, referee Smedley St. Jean ready to get us back underway. So, we're rolling for the second 45 between Barbados and El Salvador. Opening match for both here in Group F, these CONCACAF Women's U17 qualifiers. Sides seeking a spot in the final round of qualifiers in March that will determine who will go to the FIFA Women's U17 World Cup in Morocco later this year. Kaylin Alvarez, one of the goal scorers, one of the players making way at halftime, along with Georgina Herrera for El Salvador. Offside against one of those substitutes, Ariana Jones. Rolls out of play, and it'll be a goal kick for El Salvador. So you see the 11 on the pitch for El Salvador currently. It's a foul and a free kick. Shea Wilkinson, who was a first-half substitute for Barbados. Second or third foul she's been whistled for since coming on. Like she slipped before going into that challenge. Space down this right flank for El Salvador, and that's kept in play by Shirley Rivera. And Rivera's cross takes a big deflection, and then it's deflected out of play, and that was off El Salvador last, so a goal kick. Kylie Guardado involved. El Salvador looking to regain that rhythm from the first half. They looked so impressive for long stretches in that first 45. Here they come now with Jade Del Coyo. And it will be a throw. Del Coyo again. Rivera, she was offside. Barbados, of course, a very proud nation, became an independent nation back in 1966. Population just under 300,000 in Barbados. And again, a federation that's grown quite a bit. But here's El Salvador with their first shot on target of the second half. Angie Alvarenga squeezed off it as she was taking it. Barbados, though, have had great sporting pedigree in their past, especially in cricket. Over 25% of West Indies cricket players have been Barbadian. Pretty remarkable for such a small nation. But again, like so many nations in CONCACAF, growing so much on the soccer or football side as well. That's a good tackle. Danica Antoine winning the ball for her side and getting it back now on the exchange with Janiyah Nurse. Now here come El Salvador. 5 minutes played in the second half. Both sides claiming that throw, and it belongs to Barbados. So Richard Ford, the head coach of this side. Not sure what the issue is here, as Danica Antoine has been summoned toward scorer's table, it appears. There was a late change in the starting 11 for Barbados just before kickoff, we were told, where Antoine was taken out of the starting 11 due to sickness, and she was replaced, but then she came back on, and so she has gone to the bench now. So we'll see if we can learn more about what happened there, but Danica Antoine off the pitch. And so El Salvador a little bit less precise over the opening 7 minutes of their second half. Well, now here's a substitution for Barbados as they send on Miracle Maynard. Intercepted by El Salvador, and Kylie Guardado trying to slip it through for Ariana Jones, but it runs through to Messiah instead. Barbados, closest they've gotten to goal, really. But dispossessed then was Janiyah Nurse. Now on the run, Shirley Rivera. And Rivera, who already scored one goal like this in the first half, going it all on her own again, and this time skimming the top and side netting. They've not been able to take her off the ball, Shirley Rivera, once she's gotten on it. Alvarenga. That's a good ball. Tracked down by the end line by Emma Torres, one of those two substitutes who came on at the half. And splitting two defenders and winning a penalty. And a spot kick upcoming for El Salvador as Smedley St. Jean points to that spot. Well, just forced her way between the two defenders, Emma Torres, and one of them took her down. So just over 10 minutes into the second half, a chance for El Salvador to add to their tally and further their goal differential. Rashana Messiah was credited with 11 saves in the first half, being told to stay on her line until the shot is taken by the center referee. '56th-minute penalty is scored. Melanie Menjivar dispatching it and putting it under the goalkeeper with pace, with power. And Messiah, who didn't guess either way, tried to hold her ground, but then wasn't able to get down in time. 4-0 to El Salvador. So Menjivar, one of the players who is based in El Salvador, mentioned about half this team plays their club and academy soccer in the United States. Menjivar regarded as one of their bright talents and showing excellent calm from the spot. Becomes their 4th goal scorer of the night. Bit of a chaotic sequence, and it ends with a free kick for Barbados. Here comes the third change of the night for El Salvador. Jacqueline Quintanilla is the next to make way for them. And Cristina Quintanilla comes on in her place. Now Del Coyo, as El Salvador look for that 5th goal. Rivera. And Rivera accelerating past 2. They just can't tackle her off the ball in this game. Now from a long way out, that hops just wide. Not a bad effort. El Salvador have had shots from distance in this game, besides all their nice interplay that has worked opportunities for them in the penalty box. Here goes Rivera again. And Rivera again beats one defender, and this time took it with her left. Scored that goal back in the 13th minute. Always looks likely to score another. "60 minutes gone, 30 to go in Curazao. El Salvador, 3 goals in the first half. 1 so far since. Again, goal differential, the primary tiebreaker in this tournament. And so you want to score as many as you can, even when the 3 points themselves look like they're pretty secure. We're speaking a little bit about Barbados earlier, and many things that they have to be proud of. El Salvador also, of course, an incredibly proud nation, very rich footballing tradition, as this will be a free kick for Barbados. Gained their independence in 1821, El Salvador. Only Central American country without a Caribbean coastline. El Salvador's most legendary player of the 20th century on the men's side, Jorge Alberto González Barrias, known as El Mágico, the magician. He was named El Salvador's player of the century in 1999. Guy that even Diego Maradona called one of the 10 best players I've ever seen in my life. He said he was better than myself, even better than Pele. Tumbling over on the edge of the 18 was Rivera. Nothing given, it's out for a goal kick. Not many touches tonight for Kimberly Elias in goal for El Salvador, but a chance to have one there. This is out of play for an El Salvador throw. El Salvador down this left. The cutback attempt, that spins out off a defender. It'll be a corner for El Salvador. So the first corner of the second half, El Salvador had all 9 corners in the first 45 minutes. Shirley Rivera, ready to take it with her left. Curling it out, it's a very good delivery. Wasn't met as well as she would have liked, and now the loose ball is claimed by Messiah. Well, Angie Alvarenga has had a couple chances tonight. That one was curled right into her path. And that through ball is outstanding. And here's a great chance for the 5th goal, and it won't count as it winds up in the back of the net. It was a good finish from Ariana Jones, but she was flagged for offside. Free kick for Barbados as we have 25 minutes to go in this second half. Long free kick from that center circle. Barbados have not been able to test the Salvadoran backline much at all tonight. See the goal scorers again. 4 different goal scorers on the score sheet for El Salvador. All started with Guardado 40 seconds in. And then Rivera in the 13th. Alvarez in the 41st. And Menjivar from the penalty spot in this second half. Fourth change of the night coming for El Salvador now. They're going to send on Eva Chicas, and she replaces Jade Del Coyo. Elsewhere, Bermuda now leading Bonaire 7-0 in the 64th minute. Bermuda are going to be 2 wins from 2, and right now they are plus 14 in goal differential. This is Shirley Rivera. And then worked back out to Chicas just on a moment ago, and that runs out for a Barbados throw. Yeah, so Bermuda, they're going to be plus 14, 2 wins out of 2. They will be top of their group after tonight. They'll have played a game more than Panama. Panama will play in 2 days' time against Bermuda. So anyway, with 2 wins out of 2 and a plus 14 goal differential, you'd think you'd be in a pretty good position to go through to the next round. Not necessarily the case for Bermuda. They'll be in a strong position to challenge for one of those 2 best second place spots at least, but Panama still will be the heavy favorites to win that group when they play each other head to head, assuming Panama takes care of their business in their other game. None of that a given, of course, but is one of the quirks of this tournament. Sometimes you can look so dominant for 2 matches, have such a good goal differential, and still not at all be assured of a spot in the next round just yet. But Bermuda looking very strong so far alongside Panama. It'll be an interesting one when they square off. That'll be on Tuesday. One of many, many matches still coming your way over the rest of this competition and over the rest of this year. Here's a left-footed strike, and Messiah juggling but holding on. She had to make so many saves in the first half. It's been a quieter second half, but back in action there. Dominica has defeated the American Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, 11-0. This could be 5-0 for El Salvador, and it is. And it's the substitute, Ariana Jones, next to score for La Selecta. And it's the Spider-Man celebration for her and her teammates. It has been A night of celebration for El Salvador, over 70 minutes. She was able to part the defense and then slide it into the corner. Another excellent finish. So 5 goals from 5 different scorers tonight. Ariana Jones plays for Springfield South County Youth. Another one of those U.S.-based members of this Salvadoran U-17 squad. Now Jade Diaz, and her pullback. Messiah got something on it. It's still alive, and Messiah with another save. And the next ball is scored. Well, Roshana Messiah got something on the first 2 efforts, but couldn't keep out the third. Kylie Guardado bags her second of the night. She opened the scoring, remember, just 40 seconds into the match, and she adds another in the 71st minute to make it 6-0 to El Salvador. It was an inventive save initially from Messiah. Nothing she could do about that, though. Well, now the floodgates look like they're opening for El Salvador. Still 18.5 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. Guardado now on a hat trick. That one ran away from her. She, I'm sure, would love to score a third. This is El Salvador's throw. Another save for Roshana Messiah. 33 total shots now for El Salvador. Still very early in this tournament for everyone involved. I mean, a lot of drama in the second half of this first round as El Salvador hunt number 7. Messiah keeps that out at her near post. Second ball. Taken back in and then blasted from just outside the box, and it rises over the bar. Hit well by Angie Alvarenga. Rising over the top. Here comes the 5th change for El Salvador. Mia Alcala next to come on for them. Kylie Guardado will not get the chance to complete her hat trick. has to settle for 2 goals on the night. More big games to come for her and for this side over the next several days. And Trinidad and Curazao drawing in their opener 2-2, so El Salvador will be on top of this group at the end of the night. And they'll have a fairly healthy goal margin as well. Well, that's a nice ball. Alvarenga. Final 15. Rivera, that's a smart ball too. Ariana Jones. And Jones and Messiah able to keep it out. 34th shot for El Salvador tonight. We have had some great games in this competition. Mentioned the 2-2 between Trinidad and Curazao on Saturday. How about Cuba and Grenada? A 4-3 victory for Cuba yesterday. That game played in Nicaragua. Guatemala had to sweat yesterday against the Cayman Islands. Just a 1-0 victory for Guatemala. Cayman Islands defending and hanging in very well in that one. Honduras given a pretty good battle by Aruba. Just a 3-1 victory for Honduras in Oranjestad. But here, a pretty straightforward night for El Salvador. 3 in the first half, 3 so far in the second. And they took the lead just 40 seconds in. This one to the near post, and there's another save for Roshana Messiah. There will be 5 games coming up tomorrow in this competition, starting at 2 o'clock U.S. Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. St. Vincent and the Grenadines in Oranjestad playing Honduras. Then Antigua and Guatemala kicking off at 3 o'clock U.S. Eastern. Cuba will face the British Virgin Islands, St. Lucia and Haiti. And then the night will conclude first with Aruba and Jamaica. And then Costa Rica will be in action at 8 o'clock U.S. Eastern Time. Again, there are so many competitions coming up in CONCACAF this year. These U-17 qualifiers, the first of all of those. Gotham FC going to be playing in the semifinals of the inaugural FIFA Women's Champions Cup on Tuesday. They will face SC Corinthians, the South American champions, while Arsenal Women FC face ASFAR. Final of that competition will be played at the Emirates Stadium in London on February 1st. Obviously, Gotham FC will hope to be there. That would be another historic moment for women's soccer in CONCACAF and around the world. CONCACAF Champions Cup, of course, kicking off next month, just a couple weeks from now. 61st edition of the premier men's club competition in the region. 27 clubs vying to become the champion of this region and qualify for the FIFA Intercontinental Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup. Cruz Azul won it last year, of course. That was their record-equaling 7th Champions Cup title, tying them with Club America for most all-time. Final of that competition will be on May 30th. CONCACAF U-17 qualifiers on the men's side will take place February 3rd to the 12th, so those will be kicking off in about a week. 34 member associations playing that one across 6 countries. 8 group winners advancing to the FIFA U17 World Cup in Qatar later this year as Richard Ford tries to help his side finish this game strong. One of the first giveaways of the night from El Salvador as we enter the final 10 minutes. They've not misplaced many passes all night long, this team in blue. Shouts that ball was out of play, and the assistant referee agrees. It's been a great start for her side, Debbie Gómez. Taking over this U17 program in October. Not a lot of time to prepare for this tournament, but she was confident that her side was as ready as they could be, mentally and physically, and they've shown it tonight. Nearly flawless performance. Bigger challenges to come, but they will love the start that they've made tonight. Still time to grab another goal or two. Jay Diaz. Shirley Rivera. Somehow has only scored once tonight, but she's been so involved for El Salvador. Free kick for Barbados. El Salvador, though, have been able to win so many of those 50-50 balls. El Salvador have kept their concentration pretty well in a game that they've controlled since quite literally the opening minute when they scored just 40 seconds in. It can be challenging to maintain your focus and your technique when you're so on top in a game. They've generally done quite well. I'm sure Debbie Gómez will have plenty of teaching points anyway. Her side will have a free kick here. First card of the match as well, shown to Kafara David of Barbados. Yeah, David leaving that pink boot in and sticking out to trip Shirley Rivera. That earns her the first booking of the night. Cristina Quintanilla standing over the free kick. Rashana Messiah directing her three-person wall. It is Quintanilla. It is off that wall. It'll be out for a corner, and some concern for the Barbados player who blocked it. That's Taryn Sutherland, their captain, who appeared to take it square in the head. It was a brave block. Yeah, right off the temple. That never feels good. So El Salvador given the green light to take this free kick. Quintanilla will do so. This corner kick, I should say. She slides it toward the top of the 18, and it's met and sent over the bar. Interesting corner routine. Zoe Castro making a late run and found very well by that low-angled ball. Guardado in the first and the 71st, the only multi-goal scorer for El Salvador tonight. Rivera and Alvarez, Ariana Jones, Melanie Menjivar, the other scorers. Throw in for Cristina Quintanilla. Now Jay Diaz. And Diaz pushed outside that far post for another corner by Rashana Messiah. I think Diaz was going for that. I think she meant that. This was not an intended cross. She meant to put it in that top corner, and she almost did. A couple inches higher, and she may have done so. Quintanilla takes this corner now. Taking it up top. And that struck well, but defender coming off the line. Looked like the shot was going just wide anyway. And now here's Alvarenga. It's good defending. Well done by Kalema Mathias. But another corner coming for El Salvador as the seconds tick away and they head for the finish line in this one. Quintanilla delivers once again. Toward the back post. Head's going up, and it's flicked on, and somehow wide. Certainly looked like it would be goal number 7 for El Salvador. There was a save in there from Messiah, and then a second and third opportunity that just missed for Emma Torres. Not sure if Messiah got something on that last one, too. That might have been a double save. And from the subsequent corner, it's flicked over the bar by Alvarenga, who's frustrated that she hasn't quite found the back of the net tonight. Captain has otherwise been highly involved as usual, but not quite on the score sheet with just a handful of seconds remaining. clearance hit Ariana Jones. And then Jones with a cutback. Somehow goes between 3 different attackers and then hammered wide in the end. And we head into second half stoppage time. We'll find out how much of that there will be right now. Just a minute. So into the final minute then of this Group F match. Raked forward excellently by Jade Diaz, but offside is the decision, and Mariana Jones didn't think she was, but the flag is up. Final kicks of these 90 minutes as center referee Smedley St. Jean blows the final whistle, and a fine opening night performance for El Salvador as they get their campaign off to an ideal start. It could not have started any more perfectly as they scored just 40 seconds in, and they were in command the entire way tonight. 3 goals in the first half, 3 more after the break. Guardado with a brace, Rivera and Alvarez, Menjivar and Jones also on the score sheet for La Selecta, who look like a side very capable and expecting of reaching the final round in March. 1 hurdle out of 3 completed for them. They'll have 2 more games, of course, in Group F. Trinidad and Curazao will still have plenty to say, but La Selecta looking like the favorites in the group as they were expected to be. They have taken care of business comprehensively and classily tonight as they have defeated Barbados by a score of 6-0.